Hi friends, it's Belinda here from BMakingJoy, and welcome to episode 55 of What Brings Me Joy, a mostly knitting podcast from my home here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'm recording this today on Thursday, June the 12th, 2025. And if you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, I'm so glad to have you back. This podcast is where I share my knitting progress, keep track of all my WIPs to hold me accountable for the things that I cast on, not letting my number of projects pile up. Today I have 2 finished objects to show off and some progress on a few others to show you. And I have the color of the month from Ancient Arts Yarn. I will not be doing a separate life update segment. If there's anything to share this time around, I'll talk about it in relation to the projects that I'm working on. And I do have an upcoming plans section after we update my WIP count. So my first finished object, obviously, is what I'm wearing. This is the Wilfreda Sweater pattern by Wench Rolled with some modifications that I will explain. I began this project to participate in a knit along by Noelle and Kelly of Knits and Pieces. The challenge was to use a mohair in your project, and I challenged myself to use my stash, in particular some old yarns that were given to me by a friend. And there were 10 skeins of a mohair acrylic blend in the package, and 5 or 6 skeins of a dark blue acrylic yarn, and I marled them together, and I love how they looked marled together. And although I got gauge, it worked up to be a bulky weight, whereas the pattern calls for a lace weight and a fingering held together. I think I was using 2 worsted weights. I'm not quite sure. These old yarns didn't really have that kind of classification in the labels. But because I got this bulky weight, I chose a size bigger so that it could be worn as an outer garment. But maybe I went too big. If you have any thoughts on that, feel free to let me know. But it was obvious that I wasn't going to have enough of the dark blue yarn to finish the project. So I did the neck and the cuffs and the waistband in a black mystery skein that was also in the bundle with no label on it, which I think it was also an acrylic. And I think I made the right decision because I have absolutely none of the dark blue left and only a few yards of the black left. But I do have 6 skeins of that blue mohair stuff left. So I'll have to figure out something else to make. But yeah, playing yarn chicken was exhilarating. So yeah, because of the bulky fabric, I had to modify the sleeves. The pattern calls for it's just knit straight and then a rapid decrease at the cuffs to make a blousey effect. But with no drape in this fabric, I couldn't do the blousey effect. So I did the math to taper my sleeve. Yeah. I usually do my sweaters long, but I'm starting to catch on to the crop style. I went as far as my yarn would allow. My waist is right here, so it's just sitting on my hips. I don't know if I can get back far enough and show you more. I'm quite happy with it, and I really enjoyed doing that braid cable. So the Wilfreda Sweater by Wench Rolled. Now I think I need to take it off. It's summertime. But actually I wanted to comment also that it's more comfortable than I thought. I'm wearing it with a camisole underneath it and I'm not itchy at all. Whereas I thought that old mohair would be really itchy. But I think mixing it with the acrylic tamed it down. And this still hasn't been washed or blocked yet, so it should soften up. Hopefully it doesn't stretch or shrink, but I will hand wash it, even though I know all the yarns are acrylic. Actually, there's mohair and wool in the mohair. We'll see, but I'm going to hand wash it. My second finished object is one of my oldest projects, my oldest UFOs on finished objects that I pulled out to finish. It's my dodgeball version of my stadium sit-upon pattern. And I finished knitting all the pieces a year ago, and then got distracted by other things before I finished it. It's for my daughter, but she had other requests at the time, so I put this aside and made her the asthma inhaler cover and a shawl for her team fundraiser, and never got back to this. So I was motivated this week because she went to Greece with Team Canada. She plays on her city league and also applied to be on Team Canada. Yeah, they went to Greece. There were other sports represented in this competition, but there were 5 countries for dodgeball, and Team Canada won gold. And I don't say this to be patriotic, it's just that it's very impressive because they have not played together. These specific people have not played together before. Because Canada is so big, Team Canada doesn't actually get together to practice and play very often, hence why they each play on their own city leagues. So I'm so excited for her. She flew to Athens by herself. She spent a day or two there alone before she met up with the teammates. And then they played in Corinth, or somewhere near Corinth, Greece. And she had a blast. She flew in and out of Calgary. She left her cat Twyla with us, so which is why you might have seen Twyla in my Instagram stories. But anyway, that got me to wondering, why have I not finished this bag yet? My stadium sit-upon is sized to fit cushions. It's sized for 3 different sizes of standard couch cushions, seat cushions, throw pillows. I think it's a 14-inch, a 16-inch, or an 18-inch, and this is the 18-inch version, or it could just be a tote bag. On mine, I put a zipper in it. And the reason why I had been stalling was because I thought I was going to film the seaming the pieces together and the installing of the zipper, which I finally got around to doing. I was putting it off because filming it requires clearing off the dining room table and spreading out my background and setting up the camera and everything, and having the house quiet, because in the dining room you can hear everything in the entire house. But then it dawned on me to clear off this desk and set up here and film at the desk. So that's done. I have tutorials coming up for how I do my seaming, which I'm not an expert. It's not a specific recognized way. It's my way of doing it. And installing the zipper, I'm very proud of that zipper. It functions. And the pattern doesn't call for installing the zipper. It can be left open. It's just an I-cord bind off at the top, and that's nice on its own as well. But I installed a zipper. So I'm very pleased with it. My yarn this is the Team Canada colorway. It's Sock Natal by Ancient Arts Yarns. Their Hat Trick collection, which is a collection of color themes for different hockey teams. This is Team Canada. And then the purple is also a Sock Natal yarn. I think the colorway was Contented Grapes. So fingering weight. That pattern is available on my Ravelry page, which you'll find links to down below. And any pattern that I talk to, you'll find a link to down below. There's a link to the Wilfreda Sweater pattern. There's a link to anything that I talk to down below. Is that all I wanted to say about that? My pattern includes the graphs for a basic ball, a soccer ball, a baseball, a basketball, a football, and a pair of hockey sticks with a puck in between it. So All of those graphs are included in this pattern. Okay. My oldest WIP is the Papillon Shawl pattern by Mariana Knits. And I stopped working on it at home because my cat was getting in the way. The pattern is 10 pages long, and I have to follow it line by line. And so I need the space to have the pattern spread out. And often I need 2 pages spread out to flip back and forth. And it's full of short rows, which requires me flipping the project back and forth as I go. And Nikolai always wanted to be on the paper or on the yarn or on me. So it wasn't getting home and getting worked on at home. So for the last few years, I only worked on it when we were on a road trip vacation. I say road trip because it's too big and heavy to pack for an airplane travel. Pardon me, air quality is not good today. So this past weekend, I went to Lethbridge, which is a 2-hour drive away. I went for a Jehovah's Witnesses convention, and I had a hotel room all to myself. So I spread out my knitting on the second bed, but I didn't spend as much time on the knitting as I expected. Where's my marker? Where's my marker? There it is. I only got 3 sections done. As you can see, if you follow those lines across, the sections widening out in parts where we do short rows. So it wasn't a quick 3 sections. I do a lot more socializing than I expected to on this trip. Went out to supper each night. We'd spend 2.5 hours at supper. But anyway, I think I have 4 more sections to do, plus a very long bind off. And I don't remember what kind of bind off it is. It's going to be a bit of a choppy video because I have to keep cutting out my coughing sections. We've got smoke in the air, very poor air quality in the last couple of days. So, back to this pattern. So it's knit from the center part down. So you can see the needles are on that bottom V. I only just put it on these long needles after I got home, just doing this final row all the way across. I transferred it to the long needles. Previously, it was on this shorter one. And they were all bunched up, and it was getting very hard to move the stitches along. It's acrylic yarn, so it was squeaking, and every second full length row has increases in it. But then this section of short wedges in the middle had increases in it. So it was getting very bunched up and hard to make the turn around this point. So now that I've got it on the longer needles, we should be able to get going faster. The yarn is, like I said, mostly acrylic. It's Cozy Wool Merino from Loops and Threads, which I don't think they have this kind anymore. 55% superwash merino, 45% acrylic. So nonetheless, I was starting to feel the squeak of trying to slide the stitches along. So coming along nicely. Like I said, I have 4 sections left, plus whatever kind of bind off it is. I think it might be a picot bind off, I'm not sure. Next weekend, I'm getting away from my cat again. We're going to be in a hotel in Edmonton, where Cassie lives, so I can deliver her dodgeball bag to her. And Dan and Cassie are going to do a fun run, a foam fest it's called, which involves bubbles and obstacles and whatnot. So, of course, while they're doing that, I'll be knitting. And right after that, we're going to spend a few days in Canmore while Dan does a long bike ride. So I'll be taking this with me. I do hope the smoke clears up some so that we can enjoy some outdoor time. It's wildfire season again, and Canada is on fire again. This time it's Saskatchewan and Manitoba that are under a state of emergency. So last night and today has been really bad with the smoke drifting in. Our air quality index has topped out. Dan and I went to Stage West last night, which is the dinner theater. We saw Footloose, and their air conditioner broke during the show, and they couldn't open the doors because of the smoke outside. And it was seniors night, so the room was full of vulnerable people, so we couldn't let the smoke in. Yeah. Dan and I are not seniors. Well, I guess technically in some definitions I am. I'm 55, but that's not why we went, but we had a good time. So yeah, this will get some more work on. And actually it occurred to me that while Twyla was here, she was greeting me in the mornings in my bed, and I realized that Nikolai can't get up on the bed anymore. He's 14, give or take. So he can't get up on the bed. Our bed is almost hip high. So I could also finish working on this on the bed. So I'm going to make it my goal to finish this for the end of June. And make sure I work on it for at least 30 minutes every day. So yeah. Looking forward to that. I didn't make as much progress on my purse knitting either as I thought I would. These are the Booble Socks by Nancy Wheeler of Knit Sip Happy. This is sock number 2. This is her cancer fundraiser for 2025 sock. The boobles are these little baubles. You stop doing the baubles on the foot, and just the basic pattern continues. I'll insert a picture here of my finished sock number 1 on the sock blocker. So I took these to the convention with me in my purse, but I didn't get as much knitting time as I thought. I was spending my intermissions, of course, up and about mingling because there's so many people to see and talk to. But I did do 20 more rounds on the sock, and I also did 7 or 8 rounds at Stage West after we finished eating dinner and we're waiting for the show to start. But I couldn't do it once the lights went down. So yeah. I did do a little bit on the drive to the airport to pick up Cassie. Anyway, this goes back into my purse, still coming along. It's not much farther now. Yeah. I didn't write down my notes about this yarn. I'm not sure if I remember what it is. I picked it up at a fiber shingding here in Calgary back in April. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't remember. I've mentioned it in previous episodes, and it is in my Ravelry notes. Okay, this goes back into my little drawstring bag, which goes back into my purse for future on-the-go emergency knitting. Ilana actually has a dentist appointment tomorrow, so maybe we'll be working on that tomorrow. We'll see. I have to figure out what I'm working on this afternoon when I go to Changing Arts for Knit Group. Because my project I intended to work on, I've reached the end of this skein of yarn. This is sample number 2 of my Tracie Cardie pattern that will be released July 1st. That's Tracie, Tracie, which is the way my sister's name was spelled, and Cardie, Cardie, to match. So my first finished one is here on the mannequin. And this one is for my mom. And I spoke extensively about it in the last couple of episodes. So the yoke is now complete. And I'm taking it to the, what's it called? The Prairie Fiber Festival in Olds this weekend, which is about an hour drive north of here. And I will be looking for 2 skeins of a black yarn, fingering weight, of this same composition. So this is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And this yarn came from Blackbird Yarn and Fibers in the Duke. And I actually could pop in there when we go up to Edmonton next weekend, if I don't find something this weekend. But I did look on their website and couldn't find a black on their website. So we'll see. I will work hard and find a black. So this color is the Red Wing Blackbird, which is special to Mom. And the pattern was designed in memory of my sister. And I don't know how well you can see it on the dark fabric, and I apologize for the needles clicking on the glass tabletop. But there are upside down hearts all the way around it in memory of my sister, who we lost to cancer 2 years ago. So I don't think there's anything new to tell you about this pattern other than the chest knit is coming along and it's on track to be released the first week of July, hopefully right on July 1st. So my WIP count was at 10 at the end of the last episode. I finished the Wilfreda Sweater and the Dodgeball Stadium sit-upon. And I didn't start anything new. So that brings me to 8. Yeah, 8. For acquisitions, I have the June color of the month from Ancient Arts Yarns. This is on their sock natal blend. 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And and as always, I'll read their inspiration notes in their email that they send out to subscribers. Our June color of the month is inspired by the beauty of hummingbirds. Hummingbirds are fascinating creatures, and the color of one in particular caught our eye. The Rivoli's hummingbird is almost too pretty to be real. The purple crown and emerald throat, and I'll put a picture in here. The purple crown and emerald throat makes for a magnificent hummingbird that we just couldn't resist as our June inspiration. We do see hummingbirds here in Calgary, and they like to visit my yard as I grow a lot of flowers just for them, writes the designer. But they are a little less spectacular than this amazing variety. The Rivoli's hummingbird were once named the magnificent hummingbird, and for good reason. They are spectacular. These large, dark hummingbirds live in mountainous pine oak forest and shady canyons between Nicaragua and the extreme southwestern United States. In 1829, natural historian and surgeon René Primevère Lasson named Rivoli's hummingbird in honor of the second Duke of Rivoli, an amateur ornithologist. However you pronounce that word, I know it means a bird watcher. Ornithologist, a person who studies or is an expert on birds. Rivoli refers to a region of Italy. In 1983, ornithologists changed Rivoli's hummingbird name to Magnificent Hummingbird. But in 2017, when they split Magnificent into 2 species, they brought back the name Rivoli's for the species that occurs between the U.S. and Nicaragua. The Rivoli's hummingbird is the second largest hummingbird north of Mexico. Only the blue-throated mountain gem is larger. Another fun fact about this stunning bird is that Rivoli's hummingbirds have one of the highest recorded heart rates of any vertebrate, ranging from 420 to 1200 beats per minute. Both sexes look very dark unless the sun catches the iridescence of the plumage and the brilliant colors flash in the sunlight. We've done our best to capture this quality and the stunning colors of this bird in our June colorway, and I absolutely love this. Because as you know, my favorite colors are purple, and they are absolutely stunning with this green. I look forward to making something with that. Maybe another Tracie Cardie? We'll see. So my next episode will be in 2 weeks, maybe 2.5. I'm sure I will have acquisitions from the Fiber Festival to show you. I'm not looking for anything more than that black yarn, but you know I'll probably be attracted by something. And then the weekend after that, we have a short trip to Edmonton, and then a few days in Canmore, like I mentioned. Hoping the wildfires calm down. Also hoping that the G7 summit doesn't cause any issues this weekend. It's being held in Kananaskis this year, which is an hour west of here. They've been in Kananaskis before, some years back, but with all the turmoil going on in the world, I'm a little nervous about them this time around. But try not to worry. So I hope to have my Papillon Shawl finished next episode, and I hope to be well along with my mother's Tracie Cardie. I also think that with the end of June being the halfway point at the year, I should work on getting my 2025 temperature scarf caught up. And I'm keeping my eye out for a new summer t-shirt to knit, but I'm trying to find one that uses yarns that I have in my stash. And I am going to cast on something new. I am going to prepare a pillow cushion pattern to submit as an entry to the Knitting Guild Association, TKGA, the Knitting Guild Association, and their design contest with the deadline of September 30th, October 1st, something like that. I need to go look at the details again, but it's for a pillow cushion cover. So I don't know how much I will share with you about that, because it is a contest entry. We'll see. But it will be adding to my WIP count. Okay. Well, that concludes this episode. Thank you for watching. And if you've enjoyed my work, please give me a thumbs up. And please tell me in the comments what's been bringing you joy this week. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments or message me. You can find me everywhere as BMakingJoy. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Ravelry. I did start a Threads account recently. And, of course, here on YouTube. So happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy beading, reading, writing, embroidery, jigsaw puzzling. I've run out of keeping track of what all my friends are doing, but go make some joy.